in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331. And Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside Shopping Village. Convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays.
In answer to his question about the subjects.
There are more questions than answers.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Oh, what a compliment. For that, I thank you.
What is happening now? There are hopeless and hungry.
Now it's time for us to stand up to God or we fall to nothing.
It's time now for Radio Cayman's Talk Today. If you're ready to talk, we're willing to listen.
Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Listening to the general public, what the public is saying.
Good afternoon, Cayman Islands. Welcome to Talk Today. This is Kathy Miller, and I'm filling in for Sterling Dwayne Banks this afternoon. Today and tomorrow, in fact, I'm filling in for Sterling, and I'm happy to say that I have one of my favorite entrepreneurs in studio with me this afternoon in our first segment. We'll be speaking with Prentice Panton. We know him from Reflections Liquor for Less, Dream Homes, or is it Dream Properties? Yes, and also the newest independent gas station owner. It's Jose's Rubis.
That's correct.
And also joining us will be Andres Barthel, the managing director from Rubis Cayman. And in our 1:15 to 2 p.m. segment, we're going to be talking Earth Day and all things related with Cayman's natural environment. And then from 2 p.m. onwards, we'll be speaking with Ollie Rush, ultra swimmer and founder of Project Planet. And she's in Cayman, practicing for what is known as the Grand Swim. We're going to take it back to a quick commercial break, and then we'll be joined on the phone line by Managing Director from Rubis Cayman, Andres Barthel, and we have Prentice Panton in studio as well.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today, the Cayman Islands' foremost listeners participation program. We ask our listeners to avoid statements or comments which are abusive, derogatory, malicious, or defamatory. Do not use any indecent language or make any statement which is false or misleading. Email talktoday@candw.ky or call 1-800-534-8255.
Courtesy of Live Communication.
Let your voice be heard.
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Kathy Miller, filling in for Sterling Dwayne Banks. And as I intro the show, I let our listeners know that in studio with me this afternoon, I have Prentice Panton, who is independent gas station owner, entrepreneur as well, but we're mostly talking about his role right now as a gas station owner of Jose's Rubis.
That's correct.
And on the phone with us, we do have Andres Barthel, who's the managing director for Rubis Cayman. Good afternoon, Andres.
Good afternoon, Kathy.
Thank you so much for joining us in this segment of Talk Today. How are you doing this afternoon?
Doing excellent, Kathy. Thank you so much, and thanks so much for inviting me to the show and to be able to share our views on our fuels industry.
Oh, no problem at all. It's our pleasure to have you. I'm not sure when you were last on Radio Cayman, or if ever, so it's a great thing for us as well. What I'm trying to do in this show is really get the perspective of a fuel provider distributor, which is Rubis, and then the perspective of an independent gas station owner and how you work together. And then I'll also understand how Offreg comes into this whole picture. And Offreg is not here with us today, but at least I'm able to get some information from yourself and Prentice, and I do have a statement from Offreg I can later read in our segment. So with you, Andres, I want you to please explain to our listeners basically the role of Rubis as a distributor provider. I'm not sure if I'm using the right term, so you can correct me on that, but your role as a distributor here in the Cayman Islands, how does that even begin? I know that's a loaded question there.
Okay, very good, Kathy. Thank you so much. And so to your specific question, I mean, Rubis has been now, we're celebrating actually this year, 10 years since Rubis has bought the the companies that were previously owned by Texaco and Chevron up to 2012. So it's a very important milestone for us in how we operate. Our role in the supply of fuels is pretty much we do the importation, storage, and distribution of all the different fuels that are consumed within island, and that includes the gasolines that, of course, you see that we sell are sold in the service stations, gasoline and diesel. We also supply diesel to CUC, and we also supply jet fuel for all the visiting aircraft into the Cayman Islands.
Okay, I didn't know about the jet fuel as well, so.
Yes.
Okay, excellent. Now, the influence or role that Rubis holds in regards to the fuel prices in the Cayman Islands.
Yes, that is a very important question, Kathy, and I think from our local perspective as Ruiz Cayman Islands Limited, we don't have too much influence in terms of pricing of fuels, and the reason for that is fuels purchases depend mainly on international posted prices, right? So there is what it's called a Platts posting, which is a formula, and it's a formula that it gets monitored on a daily basis, and those are the prices upon we are in a position to buy, depending on where and when we purchase fuels to eventually import into the Cayman Islands. We're guided by those international prices, and we don't have pretty much influence over those base prices.
Okay, so you are buying from these oil, I guess, manufacturers at a certain price. Refineries. At a certain price.
Correct. So we buy at a certain price, and the reason that why we have no influence is because we don't participate in what we call the upstream or the midstream of the oil and gas. And just to clarify that, I mean, upstream is wherever you do exploration and production of oil, right?
Right.
That's where you actually drill and get either gas or oil. And midstream is what we call mainly, it goes mainly to the refining aspect when it goes to refineries. We don't operate refineries. We only operate a very small refinery in the French Caribbean, but it is just for local consumption. So we don't have any influence of what happened in upstream or midstream. Ruiz is just a pure downstream organization and company, right?
Right.
And so we pretty much buy our fuels from third-party suppliers, from their refineries directly, and usually we do this under certain contracts and agreements.
Am I correct in saying that most of the source of our oil where we're buying from is from the U.S. and a little bit from the Bahamas?
That is correct. I mean, we get our main source is the Gulf Coast in the U.S., where we buy regularly from whoever the contracting party is. And eventually, if a need arises for to secure some additional barrels or so, we may go into the spot market, which is not pretty much the practice. But if needed, we can access other sources.
Now, I know there's some cries from people out there thinking, well, why can't we just buy oil from somebody else, a different supplier? It's going to be maybe a little cheaper for us. Is that even a possibility? Because you did mention contractual agreements with your suppliers.
Correct. I see how this works, and usually the trading groups, I mean, they usually negotiate these agreements are not long term. I mean, we tend to be very active as a company in the market. The trading company, our brothers in the trading company in Ruiz, they monitor the market permanently, day in, day out. So usually we don't tend to do very long-term supply agreements, just to look for opportunities to always get the best price and the best cost that we can get for our fuels.
Is that, now, you say you're doing that to ensure that you're getting the best price. However, coming from my sales background, I do know in my sales experience that the longer relationships that you have with somebody, the more, let's say, perks and incentives you will receive, or more of a discount on when you're buying, right? So that's part of your perks and incentives. So is that hindering us if we don't do longer agreements, or is it, an upside for Cayman?
It does not. It does not. On the contrary, I would say, Kathy. I mean, when you get into these agreements and you know that your supplier is being number one, I mean, because there are two things here to consider, right? The most important thing is the supply reliability, right? So you need to make sure you get with a very good supplier that is going to be a reliable supplier, right? The second aspect, of course, is cost, right? So as you manage the relation with a specific supplier, you may have a longer-term deal, right? We have had a longer-term deals in the past, for example, with companies like Shell, or we can do also contracts or get into a relationship with companies like Trafigura or Puma, any of the other big trading companies. So there are many suppliers that can provide you always competitive prices.
All right. So what are some of your challenges with these manufacturing partners that are part of the supply chain that you have to buy from?
Yes, I think the challenges with the manufacturers maybe sometimes the fact that in our case, of course, we are a very small community, so our consumption for the Cayman Islands in the big picture is something relatively small, right? If you compare to for example, the market in the U.S., right?
Right.
So some of the challenges that you may face, of course, there is a nature type of challenges. I mean, whenever there may be some, as we're very very fully aware in the region, any type of natural conditions or natural disasters that may be impacting, for example, the Gulf Coast. I mean, you may get into situations that you need to have a secondary supplier, right? So that from a reliability perspective. But the challenges in general, from an operational perspective, it's just to get your ships and on time to the refineries, just to be able to load. There is, of course, depending on the demand, you may get sometimes a little bit of delays here and there sometimes, and prices change on a daily basis in the global market, right? So that's one of the challenges that you may have with your point of supply. But other than that, from a quality perspective, we have absolutely no challenges. Quality is always on top of our minds, right? And I mean, as I mentioned before, supply reliability is key. So in general, we have very good relationship with the manufacturing or the refineries, I would say, that we're buying from.
Are you required, is Rubis required to have a fuel reserve in Cayman? Because you had touched on the shipping challenges, right? And what could cause a delay.
You're right, and contractually, and I'm not going to go into too much of details there, Kathy, but I mean, yes, we have, for example, as you know, we supply part of the diesel, for example, that we supply to CUC. So we must ensure, and we have an obligation to keep a certain level of inventories, right? And same thing is, for example, happening with the arrangement for jet fuel for the airport. We also have a commitment with the Cayman Islands Aviation Authority to have a certain level of inventory, right? Just to make sure that we can always keep the market wet, as we call it. So, but I mean, in general, we have enough reserve for, I should say, 30 plus days, right? Depending on the type of fuel, but it's always a good reserve of fuel that we have for the Cayman Islands.
All right.
Which in part I can tell you, Kathy, it's much more in having been in many other places in the Caribbean. We're in a good spot if you compare to other places where they may be much shorter in terms of days of supply.
I think we're pretty organized in Cayman in a lot of respects, so
We are.
I could understand and agree with you on that point. We got to go to a quick commercial break, but when we come back, I want to talk about basically associated costs that you as a provider have to deal with when buying from your suppliers. And we're going to go to commercial break, and we'll be right back.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
Subway is serving up a special new sauce, bursting with flavor in every bite. The new Savory Collection is a tropical sweet and spicy sauce made with a combination of spices, habanero peppers, thyme, onion, black pepper, ginger, citrus juices, and molasses.
So good. Wow. Sensational. Delicious.
Subway's Savory Collection pairs perfectly with our oven roasted chicken or steak sub. Savor the flavor. For a limited time, only at Subway. Subway. Eat fresh.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
Medical lab services in Cayman. MedLab.
Ask our professional team about the benefits of cutting-edge technology with MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
We think it's time you crossed over to a new vehicle. And with the Toyota Corolla Cross now at Vamt Motors, you have plenty of reasons to make the switch. The crossover body and hybrid engine is a sleek design in a sturdy structure with a spacious interior that opens to extensive cargo space. Stuck in traffic? The high-performance self-charging hybrid system automatically switches between gas and electric vehicle mode, helping you lower both fuel costs and carbon emissions. The Corolla Cross has full LED lighting inside and out, an integrated display audio system with energy monitor, and a dual-zone climate control system to ensure comfort for all. Test drive the new Toyota Corolla Cross Hybrid today at Vamt Motors, Walkers Road.
Attention parents and guardians. Any child who is 5 years old by 31st August must be enrolled in an approved educational program, including government, private, or homeschooling program. Registration for the 2022-23 academic year begins on 1st April. Applications received before 1st April will not be considered. Detailed students' registration guidelines and forms are available on the Department of Education Services website at www.schools.edu.ky or by emailing edu.registration@gov.ky.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public could say.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Kathy Miller, filling in for Sterling Dwayne Banks. And in this segment of Talk Today, we are talking about the rising gas prices. In studio with me, I have Prentice Panton, who's an independent gas station owner with Jose's Rubis. And on the phone with me, I have Andres Barthel, who's the managing director from Rubis Cayman. Andres, are you still with us?
Yes, I'm here, Kathy. Yes.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Now, I want to touch back on the cost. You had mentioned, well, two things really when it comes down to cost. Well, an important part of the cost is the quality of the oil that you're getting, and Prentice did remind me during the break that we should touch on that. And right before the break, I mentioned trying to understand what costs Rubis might have to incur before selling to the independent owners in Cayman, the gas station owners. And if you could give a little bit of a description what those costs mean.
Okay, very good, Kathy. Yeah, just before I go to that specific point, I just wanted to address something that I think it's important. I mean, as I mentioned earlier, that we work under kind of a international prices, right?
Yes.
One of the impacts there on the cost, on the original cost of fuel, right? That impacts the factors that impact that is, of course, is any type of business, supply and demand, right? Supply and demand always are dictating kind of on the pricing side how it goes. On the refining capacity, it is important to understand the level of outputs, which comes with the demand, how much demand there is for a certain product. And in refineries, we have to remember they produce a mix of products, right? I mean, so it depends on which is probably the higher output there. They may decide to go higher with gasoline, lower with diesel, depending on the time of the year, on the seasonality of a specific country, in this case of the U.S. I mean, we know that by the summer, usually there is a high demand for gasoline, a lot of people traveling.
Right.
So usually that brings prices up, I mean, from a cost side. Of course, the cost of crude, right, depending on where the prices of oil are also going to dictate the potential cost of refining, and then subsequently the cost of refined fuels being sold to us, right? And besides that, I should say that is under normal conditions and international conflicts, right? I think it's important to raise that one as we address this. I mean, we know what is going on for some months now in Europe, and that is something that is having an impact on cost of fuel because of cut of demand, for example, of some diesel sources that went to Europe, originally from Russia, for example. Some of that diesel now is coming mostly from the western side of the world into Europe, so there is a high demand. So we're seeing now prices of diesel going up, and we have seen, and we're going to be noticing that trend a little bit more in the Cayman Islands. So that from that high level perspective. When it comes to us here specifically in Cayman, on the costs that we have besides the product at the refinery, we have then to ship that product from that refinery to the various locations. So there is shipping cost, right? Shipping and logistics. We have then import duties that we have to pay once we import a product into the Cayman Islands. There is a cost for the storage of that product at our terminals, both here in Grand Cayman and Jackson Point, and our smaller terminal in the Cayman Brac, right? So it has an associated cost. Distribution then to the customers, and this is distribution, for example, to the airport, and in our case here, distribution to the service station, which is a road transportation, right?
Right.
We also have costs related to marketing and social campaigns that we do. We do a lot of that on islands, just to be part, of course, of our corporate social responsibility, and also to drive some marketing campaigns, to drive some of the end users more and more to our service stations, and of course training and development of our team, and all the additional operational expenses that we know that we carry by having to manage and operate a company.
Well, that was a very thorough answer. Thank you, Andres.
Okay.
He was a great guy.
Yes, Prentice did say, yes, this guy's going to be great with information, so I appreciate that link that Prentice made for us this afternoon. Now, we do have Prentice here in studio, so I understand that Prentice he's a Rubis retailer.
A retail dealer, yeah.
Yeah. Now, I guess he has to adhere to certain obligations, contractual obligations that he makes with Rubis, correct? Are there major challenges in dealing with the independent station owners now? The things that, that maybe there's a little bit of clarity still needs to be made for the people who are independent owners and what they're trying to, I guess, learn from Rubis.
Okay, that question is for me, right, Kathy?
Yes, sir. That question is for you.
Okay, so we supply fuels, as you said. I mean, to our retailers, who are the persons who actually independently own and operate these service stations. And we provide under those agreements, we have a supply agreement, so we have an agreement to supply them for a certain period of years, right? We provide also equipment. I mean, when it comes to, for example, canopies with the gas dispensers, the storage tanks, the underground storage tanks in the service station pipes, everything that we own. We provide all that fuel equipment. We provide health, safety, and environmental training, customer service training to our dealers in the stations. And we also run together with them our sales promotion that we run throughout the years. So in general, it's a very transparent relationship, right? We pretty much provide all the retailers with the same price. I mean, we don't have any differentiation on prices to our different dealers, so everyone is working under the same level of cost. And then it's up to each independent retailer to set up their prices to the end customer, to the general public. We don't have any influence on that as Ruiz. That is done independently by each of.
Okay, so I think you mostly spoke of the support between the two.
Tremendous support, yeah.
Which is great. But what are the challenges? Are there any challenges?
Not with nice guys like me.
I'm guessing Prentice is one of your easier dealers to work with.
Yeah, no challenges, Kathy. I should say, and I mean, these times where we work under such a high cost type of environment becomes pretty much a challenge, I would say, for everyone, right? We don't benefit of high cost environment at all. That doesn't bring us any additional margin, any additional profit at all. It only generates more working capital, right? So it is a challenge that we all have to face at the end with customers. I mean, invoices come at a higher price. I mean, we need to make sure that everyone has their cash and is working properly to be able to sustain the payment of fuel invoices, right?
Right.
And it impacts at the end customer, unfortunately, right? Because it's what it is. When you have a high cost, that's what happens. We're just transferring costs. As we get higher costs, we have to sell at higher prices.
It is, but one thing that my solution or my suggestion to get to how we can mitigate that for the end consumer, so we don't have to pay as high in costs for gallons per gas. Now, I understand that I believe CUC pays 25 cents per gallon when in duty, and Rubis has to pay, I believe it's 75 cents for diesel and 85 cents for the regular fuel.
Yes.
So my suggestion or thought, I'm sure this thought has been had many times, is if there's such a cushion for CUC, they only pay 25 cents. Is that possible for that duty to be brought down in the Cayman Islands to help the end consumer? I know that this would also affect government budget on a whole, but if we're looking at bringing the cost of living down and helping the people that live here, to me it seems like a viable solution. Any thoughts on that?
I think, Kathy, that is a very valid point, and that is something that is going to be up to the government, right, at some point to take a look into, right, and see if the current level of duties is at the right level, or if they would be willing to balance something in a different way that at the end of the day can be transferred as a benefit to the end customer. But I mean, I cannot comment any more on that. It is out of my
understand.
I'll just say I'll take a stab at it. I'm not known to be controversial.
Go for it. We're going to get Prentice a thought, and then we're going to go to a commercial break.
I mean, it is a vital part of the government budget. Yes, I mean just to cover the cost of all these new roads and stuff like that. I heard there's like 5,000 cars sitting in Jamaica that needs to come here, and it's a tremendous traffic problem, and obviously roads are quite expensive to acquire. But from a note on cost per factor, the government actually is making a higher amount of money per gallon than we, as a dealer who has to pay the rent, pay the light bill, pay the staff, all the things necessary to be operating, and that's a small margin that us as dealers are operating under.
All right, we're going to go into more into the margins and what you have to face as a dealer apprentice when we come back from our commercial break. Andres, thank you so much for joining us. You're welcome to stay on the line. We are going to be taking calls in the rest of this segment. So I understand if you won't be able to take calls or if you have to go, but I thank you for providing the information that you did with us so far. And after this commercial break, we're going to hear a lot more from Prentice and his perspective. I shouldn't have used those words together in that alliteration right there. We'll be back after this commercial break.
Subway is serving up a special new sauce, bursting with flavor in every bite. The new Savory Collection is a tropical sweet and spicy sauce made with a combination of spices, habanero peppers, thyme, onion, black pepper, ginger, citrus juices, and molasses.
So good. Wow. Sensational. Delicious.
Subway's Savory Collection pairs perfectly with our oven roasted chicken or steak sub. Savor the flavor. For a limited time, only at Subway. Subway. Eat fresh.
Hi, I'm remodeling our bathroom. I have a few questions.
Sure.
What are some ideas to make my bathroom feel larger? How do I know if I'm picking the right vanity? How do I choose a new toilet or a new countertop? Also, the lighting is terrible. Can I put a window or a skylight? And do I really need an exhaust fan?
You've come to the right place. At Brand Source, we custom design kitchen and baths, and our talented design team can help answer your questions. Whether you're looking for a modern, functional family bathroom or a luxurious personal retreat, we'll help create that beautiful space that makes your home yours. And if you're in a rush for a new look and have a limited budget, our ready-to-install bathroom vanities, built with solid wood and countertops of the finest materials, are a quick and easy remodeling solution.
For the very best in custom-designed kitchens and baths, visit Brand Source Home Gallery on Dorsey Drive, Industrial Park, Cayman's Kitchen and Bath Center.
The best foundation you can wear is glowing, healthy skin. The offices of dermatologist Dr. Wayne Porter specialize in enhancing your skin's well-being. Whether you're seeking advanced skin care, including any skin cancers, Botox, filler, cosmetic skin enhancements, or simply looking to reduce wrinkles, Dr. Porter offers a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. For more information, email drportercayman@gmail.com or call 946-9020. That is 946-9020.
It's Kirk Freeport's 50th anniversary, and we're celebrating with you. If it's your 50th birthday in 2022, we have a $50 gift card for you. If you're celebrating your 50th wedding anniversary or higher, it's $500. We'll also donate $50,000 to charities and increase the rewards for store purchases too. Purchases of $500 will receive branded gifts, while purchases of $100 gain entry into our monthly sweepstakes with prizes from luxury brands. View terms and conditions on KirkFreeport.com.
Are you a Caymanian status holder, or a resident of the Cayman Islands who is interested in enhancing transparency, accountability, ethical standards, and promoting awareness in public bodies? If you are civic-minded with the highest level of integrity, the Commission's Secretariat, on behalf of His Excellency the Governor, welcomes your expression of interest for appointment to the various statutory commissions. For more information on the commissions and candidate qualifications, visit the Commission's Secretariat website at www.commissionssecretariat.gov.ky.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Kathy Miller, filling in for Sterling Dwayne Banks. We're talking about the rising gas prices and trying to get an understanding of both the provider-supplier side, which is Rubis, Cayman Islands. At least that's what we had on the segment with us this morning. We do know Sol is another provider for the Cayman Islands. and to get a perspective from a gas station owner. And in the studio, I have Prentice Panton with me. And mostly we've been talking to Andres from Rubis, but right now we're going to turn the conversation more so towards you, Prentice. So I don't know if a lot of people know that you acquired Jose's Rubis and you kept the name Jose's.
Yes.
But just give us a little brief background on what made you delve into being a gas station dealer.
Something I thought about years ago, and the opportunity presented itself when Rubis actually approached me and asked me if I was interested. And I told him, yes, certainly. Actually, I was at the time thinking about opening or getting a station in the outer districts. I have some property out there in the east, and I said, sure, I'll do it. It's actually a perfect timing. It's on my mind. And we'll work on going forward and potentially opening that station. And then I'm always up for challenges, and like most people, when you're on the outside, you think of this business a lot different. You think that, like, say, you think this is a cash cow, and you think that the dealers and the distributors are making crazy money.
Is that what you thought?
That's what I thought. Until I got in. So anyway, when I got in and approached and I met people like Andres and the rest of the team, and they put me at ease that because I had never dealt with gas before. I mean, retail is retail. That's how I looked at it, as far as the different product and pricing things, and so I thought that would be pretty straightforward. But then with fuel, there's a lot of safety aspects and environmental aspects, and like Andres touched on, they really emphasize that in training and bring us all up to speed. That not only the dealers but the staff themselves adhere to certain standards and representing the brand Rubis. I was quite impressed. One of the questions they asked, so it was stuck out to me, was how would I feel as an independent entrepreneur, not we're normally driven, nobody talks, tells us what to do type thing. How would I feel getting into a corporate structure? And I said, it's actually something that I'm looking forward to, because, like I said, I never had that opportunity. I never worked in a major corporation. They have policies, they have procedures, they have standards, and like I say, I'm usually a loose can, and I go stay up all night, and then I wake up in the morning and I do something different. So it was definitely an eye-opening experience. I'm glad that I get the opportunity to do it, because dealerships come up very rare. Usually somebody has to die or something like that. Rare somebody retires.
That's a grim, a grim opening chance for you to. But you were approached.
But I was approached, and and the opportunity presented itself, and I got in. And when I really started to look at some of the things, I be honest, I almost thought about backing out, and I did thought about backing out, and then I said, no, I can do this, and I do have a great team. My brother Stanley helps me a lot. And we started to look at it and said, okay, let's work on it and see how we can affect the market. Because to me, that's my goal, my aim in life now, is affecting the markets, bringing change. Our old slogan, driving down prices. And like I said, when we started to look at this, and gas, it has a margin that's unlike any other. There's no retail business that has such a small margin. I can tell the customer that they can put away the idea that we're price gouging. That does not happen on a deal level, for sure. And
I believe, I hate to interrupt you.
Sure.
I know we have a caller.
Yeah, the customers come first.
Love to get that caller on and see what questions they might have or comments to make. Good afternoon. Thank you for calling Talk Today.
Good afternoon, Kathy. Good afternoon, Prentice. How are you?
Oh, excellent.
Great. How are you?
Great. I don't know if the other guy is still online or not.
I think he's gone. Oh, no, he's still there. Andres is still there. Well, welcome, Andres.
Andres, good afternoon as well.
Oh, he may or may not be there, but okay.
All right. My question is, after I heard Prentice say that he was thinking about opening one on the eastern side, I would say in the north side area, in that you have a lot of people that go Cayman and whatever else up there, to party and whatever else on the beach. So it may be a good opportunity, because it's only one little station in Prentice, know that.
Yes, I used to live there 10 years. Yeah.
Yep. So I think it would be a great idea to open a Rubis up in that area. I know you'll have a lot of kickbacks and so forth, because those people up there, they want change, but they don't want change.
That is correct.
So how do you get change without change?
Exactly. They want paper, not change.
Wow.
My grandmother's North Side, and when I moved there, I was treated like an outsider by some, but welcomed by most, thankfully.
Yeah. No, I know. I mean, you probably know who it is. I deal with your station all the time there.
Yes, appreciate
from
it.
Time from time Jose had it. That's been my favorite station to stop at. So.
Yeah, that was actually an important part of my decision and getting into the gas business. Jose is definitely an icon, legend in the business.
Right.
You know, from working in town to building a station.
Anderson Square was,
and that's one of the primary reasons. And part of it was a contract group has actually wanted that and requested that we keep the name.
Yeah,
but it was definitely a pleasure and honor. Really is the right word to say that I go under the Jose name.
Yeah, because he had it from time, I think it was Shell out by Great Scotia Bankers. But I know for sure he was right out there by Anderson Square.
Anderson Square, if I remember. I used to ride my bicycle out there.
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, take deep thought and get with Rubus and see if I can get one out there, because it's needed. I mean, sometimes I'll go outside and say, well, I need something. And I don't like to deal with the other one.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they played an important part in the community, and I have respect for the people that are behind it.
Yeah.
When I get into things, I don't, in a sense, go into to damage someone's business. I go into into a business feeling that there's a need, and I provide that need as best as I can.
Yeah, and to be honest, I mean, the one north side is very hospitable. They're the country living type of store as well, but they don't have you would say the convenience that you really need sometime in a store.
Yeah, it's just a size is limited.
Yeah, with having a bigger facility, you would be able to have more supplies.
Yeah, I agree with you on that.
Anyway,
just as somebody who drives up to Northside every once in a while, I would definitely have to agree that we do need whether it's to expand the one that's there or another one, as Prentice is thinking, hopefully another one in Northside. I don't know if that could be anytime soon in the next few years, but it's something to think about, right?
Yeah, I'm definitely working on it.
We have to go to our 1 p.m. news headlines, and when we return, we will be right here talking about rising gas prices with Prentice Panton.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman.
Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. A wealth structuring conference hosted by the Step Cayman Islands branch at the Kimpton Seafire will be held Thursday, April 28th, 12:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. Registration is $200 U.S. for non-STEP members and $150 U.S. for members. To register or for more information, email stepcayman@gmail.com. In international news, the Catholic Diocese in New Jersey has agreed to pay $87.5 million U.S. to hundreds of people sexually abused by the church. In a first, the deal also paves the way for lawsuits against insurance firms that protect dioceses against charges of negligence. It is one of the largest settlements involving the Catholic Church in the U.S., which has been accused of covering up decades of misdeeds. Germany has said it will halt imports of Russian oil by the end of this year. Germany currently buys a quarter of its oil and 40% of its gas from Russia and has warned that it could face a recession if supplies suddenly stopped. The U.S. has already banned Russian oil imports, while the U.K. plans to phase them out by the end of the year. In South Korea, when a baby is born, they are considered a year old. Come New Year's Day, they gain another year. This means a baby born in December would be considered to be 2 years old in just a few weeks. But this Korean age method may soon change as the country's president-elect is pushing for this centuries-old method of counting to be abolished. The chief of the president-elect's transition committee said the incoming administration was looking to standardize the way age is counted in order to bring South Korea in line with the rest of the world. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
For the latest in news and information,
follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Kathy Miller filling in for Sterling Dwayne Banks. We are discussing the rising gas prices and we're giving the perspective now from an independent gas station owner, and that is Prentice Panton, who we have in studio. I think we have another phone call right now, and I'm just going to ask for the caller to try to keep your question brief because I got a few questions for Prentice before I have to welcome the next guests in, so I want to make sure that I can get that information for Prentice and out to our listeners. Good afternoon, caller. Thank you for calling Talk Today.
Good afternoon, ma'am, and good afternoon to Mr. Prentice and all the public listeners. Raymond Scott here.
Thank you for calling, Mr. Scott. How are you doing?
Yes, ma'am. Okay, trying to make the best of it. Anyway, I have a question about, there are a lot of rumors about Cayman Brac does not pay any import duties on the gasoline and diesel coming into the island. That is something I want verified now from whoever can answer my question. Is it a reduced diesel or gasoline import duty to Cayman Brac or none? Which one?
I only vaguely heard the same, but I'm not sure that's actually factually correct. That would be a question. That would be a question for the government or customs department in particular. I'm not. I would rather not state what I don't know to be fact.
Yes, sir. Okay, understood. If it is correct, that means the prices should be lower.
Yeah, but then there's additional cost. I mean, then I'll kind of speaking a little bit for Rubens itself. There's additional cost of getting it from Cayman over to the Brac, and then the volumes over there are a lot less too. So that they have staff and they have electricity.
Yes, getting it to the Brac, the same ship brings it to Grand Cayman, and then comes on to here, and then goes on to other Caribbean ports. I know all about it. I'm one of the most
you're definitely
knowledgeable that tracks and knows about the movement of the ships and where they load and where they carry it. And it was said that we are an out-of-way place, Grand Cayman and Cayman Brac, and that is not the case. We are right within the path of the ships coming from other Caribbean islands, stopping here on their westbound route or coming from Houston, Grand Cayman, Dominican Republic, St. John's, Antigua, the Bahamas, leaving America, going to Bahamas, Dominican Republic, Antigua, and back to Grand Cayman, back to Cayman Brac, and finish popping out and go back to the States and load another cargo.
And that adds to the lag factor, which about last month, Off-Reg spoke on that, and I did get a statement actually from Off-Reg as to what the lag factor is. And we'll get into that, but thank you, Raymond, for your question. And as Prentice said, you might have to raise that with customs and the powers that be within government for that.
Above my pay grade.
Yes, thanks for your call. So that was a great point that Raymond made, actually. Mm-hmm. So there is a lot of misunderstanding on how the retail cost of gas is set at the pump. Can you try to explain to us how this is set?
They were under no obligation or contractual agreements with Rubens as far as price. There was an initial recommendation based on their experience and to help guide a new dealer like me. But we're all dealers set their own price based on what they figure their overheads are, their volumes are, and the volumes it play a big part in it. So once I took over, I cut the very, very small margin. Like I said, there's nothing that I sell on island that's for a smaller margin. than this, and I cut those even more to try to drive station, because I wonder one of the things Jose's was known for was low prices, so we wanted to reestablish that, and I think we have done a great job on that, and the volume speaks for itself, and then we have worked on improving customer service, and Rubus has helped us a lot update the station. We just actually got it painted this weekend for the second time since I've been in, and I've only been there since May last year. So yeah, that's all independent. We try to sell it for as little as possible without going out of business. That's really the goal.
Okay, so the price is set on what you buy from them, because
yeah,
that was
that's
explained.
The cost is fixed, yes.
So that's a fixed cost.
Yeah, and the retail is up to us as dealers, yes.
So you said it's a very small margin.
Very small margin.
And I know people out there are probably crying and saying, this isn't true. Why is it jumping so much, right? A 20-30% increase.
But I don't know in percentage, but we have on the touchstone, the higher the price actually is worse for us, right? We most people are using now debit cards and credit cards, right? And if you, I think it was on $5, I worked it out. Now the price is at $6, is like 13 cents is going to the bank, So the majority of the very small profit is just going straight out the door to the bank. That doesn't have the staff, doesn't have the rent, doesn't have the electricity. Same thing to the government, like I said, not jokingly, but the government makes 4 or 5 times what we make, and they don't have the cost of setting up the station and running the headaches of running the station.
What are the solutions for that?
There's little that can be done. I don't think there's very much can be done as far as in a smaller possible margin. Like I said, I won't say I have the luxury of this is not my only business. But there are dealers who this is their livelihood, this is the way of life, and they certainly are a tremendous risk if you try to get into price controls where you arbitrarily set a price and have no idea what it takes to run the business. There will be people going out of business.
You got to explain price control a little bit more, because I know that's something that's been brought up. What is price control, first of all, when it comes to gas? Should we consider it for the Cayman Islands?
Well, I would imagine the government would come in and take a general look and try to say, okay, well, let's say arbitrarily set a certain amount of cents, because like I said, it's not a percentage. Every other thing operates on the percentage. If we were doing gas as a percentage, the price of gas would be over $8, and we're under $6, right? So, because like I say, we try to be within the bottom 2 lowest prices on the island. That's our goal. And if government comes in and says, okay, we're just going to set prices, but they're not going to take the time to look into what the volume is needed to pay the rent, pay the electricity, pay the staff. And like I say, a lot of dealers are hurting, because we have driven the prices down. We've knocked like 15 cents off of what it could be, 15-20 cents off of what it could be, or what the markup was. Again, a very small cent. It's under $1.
Right, but there's just so much
Yeah,
cost to incur from that part where Rubus has to deal in their supply chain when they're getting it from their suppliers.
Yeah, we don't have very much say in that, but we don't have any say in that at all. But like I agree with Andres. I mean, watching tremendous amount of news, and there's a lot of conflicts, and there are a lot of people blaming the Russia-Ukraine situation, but that's not the only one, right? I mean, the United States has went around the world sanctioning the major oil producer, Venezuela, Iran, Libya, Syria.
And there's been wars since I was born, Prentice.
Iraq. So those things have driven the price up, because the United States is now went from being a net importer of oil to net exporter. And they need a certain price point in order to be profitable. And that's what they've done, went around the world and driven the prices up on the cost per barrel. So that's really where we're at. And like say, we, the Cayman people, not going to have any say in that.
I think it's a bit of a knock-on effect as well from the pandemic and a lot less people working. It's therefore not as much being produced. The output isn't as much.
Yeah, and then like people that really put the price of gas in perspective. I know like the gas is a hot topic now, but like how much do you pay for a glass of coffee? $5. That's 12 ounces.
Yes,
a gallon of gas is 128 ounces, right? Water, like you get sparkling water, $3 for a small bottle, and water is the most abundant substance on the earth.
Absolutely.
I mean, diesel oil comes from way underneath the earth, and there's like a lot of logistics in that, moving it, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I say people, you know, like say I understand it's the difficult thing, you know, like say I think I'm very thankful for my position, but so I understand people are in a difficult time, so like they try to hit out at whatever they can. But like honestly, I can say I've only been in this since May last year, and it's not that much room for it to go lower as far as percentage-wise.
And we should be expecting it to go higher. Am I correct in saying
there
that?
is fluctuations. Yeah.
That is such a cushy response. That is such a public relations kind of if I was to write your answer for you and be like, this is what you say when they ask.
The price of barrel drops, and they buy at different times. So yeah, it can come down. Hopefully, I mean, like I said, it's honestly worse for us. The higher it goes, the more bank fees we pay.
Right.
And we don't change the amount of cents that we make. So it does. Right. And people tend to buy less. So it doesn't serve us to sell high price gas.
We do have another call, and after this caller, I'm just going to ask you for a couple of tips that you might have as a gas station owner that you can pass on to people like me who I am definitely not going to be walking. I'll be driving. So I might have to make some sacrifices in other areas of my life. But after this chat with the caller right now, if you could give us some tips to how we can, I guess, practice better fuel efficiency and consumption. But let's take this call right now. Good afternoon, caller. Thanks for calling Talk Today.
Good afternoon. Just had a question pertaining to something Prentice said a little while ago about, well, he refers to gas, but I presume you're speaking of fuel all around.
Yes, general term, yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, something about not based on percentages. This is the only business not based on percentages. I didn't quite get that. What do you mean exactly?
Well, let's say, given anything, clothing, grocery, food item, everything has a markup or a percentage. Some people call it margins. We work on cents, you know. So we don't put like 10% onto the price of gas or 20% onto the price of gas. We work cents, actual cents. Oh. That is it. So
converted to a percentage.
Yeah. It could work it back out, but my point is, the higher the price of gas goes, the lower the percentage. So it's a smaller return on our investment. You know, like, I mean, a station costs $2 million, I would say, up and change to build. You could buy apartments and rent them, and make a higher return without the hassle. So there's not a high return ROI on your investment running a gas station. Is all I'm saying. So it's not price gouging.
Yeah, I hear you, but there's some reason why people have stayed in it for so many years. But anyway, that I really didn't want to argue that. I just didn't quite understand what you meant about not percentage based. But this question is general, and we've observed it here in Cayman from forever, and I'm sure before you got into the business, you saw it too. We'll hear an announcement that fuel costs are going up worldwide, and almost immediately you see the difference reflected in our retail prices here. But on the other hand, you'll hear that prices start to go down, and that somehow never seems to work its way through, or if it does, it's just a very, very small amount. You know, because some time ago when prices were dropping, they had dropped considerably in other places, but we were only seeing drops of, well, getting back to your own expression, cents. We were only seeing a few cents per gallon, whereas in other places, supposedly the places where we get our supply from, you know, so I don't understand that, and it's something that we've been hearing forever. It goes up overseas, ours goes up. It comes down, but ours somehow get down.
I mean, there is movement, but like I said, there's a lot of factors, and than just the price of the barrel, right? There's where that barrel was obtained, what country, how far it need to be transported. Like I said, that's not really where my area of expertise is. But I can say that we thankfully have gotten our volume. We're limited the amount of fuel. The Kathy touched on reserves, right? We're limited to the size of the tank in the ground. So we can only buy so much. And thankfully we have pushed our volume to the point where, every few days we have to get filled back up. And we only get maybe 1 day, 2 days worth of notice on at the most on the price change. So it gives us very little opportunity to that. So as soon as we get notice of a price change, it has to reflect. I mean, just for simple maths, we got 10,000 gallons and the price goes up 50 cents. Well, somebody needs to find $5,000 just to have the gas in the tank in order to sell it. We can't make it a margin. We have to finance that $5,000. So, like I said, the more the price goes up, the more money we have to put in to make the same amount of money, or actually potentially less.
I wanna add on to what your answer is, Prentice, and thank you, caller, for your call and your questions. We appreciate it. We just have to go into a commercial break in a minute, but I'm going to ask Prentice to think of those 3 points that you can give to our listeners on how they can just kind of better prepare themselves for the rising gas prices, or how to be more fuel efficient. And I want to read a statement from Off-Reg, who weren't able to be here this afternoon. It was quite a last-minute invite, so I do thank who were able to join us today. So Off-Reg, they do monitor and scrutinize the operations of the suppliers and the dealers, and it's part of their obligation. But one thing that Off-Reg told me, they gave me a statement in regards to lag factor, because I wanted to understand what lag factor is and what it means in terms of pricing. So the statement reads, "The lag factor is mainly due to timing of purchase and loading fuel from the source points overseas and its arrival into Cayman. Although Cayman consumes or imports approximately 5 million gallons each month, refineries do not sell such small quantities to the ships, so the importers purchase much, much larger batches of fuel for other countries. Then the ship goes around and does deliveries like a milkman, and depending on that route decision, that determines when fuel arrives here. The lag was much larger in the past, but now between 2 weeks to 5 weeks on average. Then when the fuel gets here, it's not always sold right away due to the existing fuel the companies may have in their tanks, so that sometimes adds a few more days or weeks depending on how fast that fuel is selling locally." That's the end of the statement. I think that also touches a little bit on what Raymond Scott was saying, and he understands how the ships go, from the various countries. And also, when that oil was bought and paid for, and what the independent retailers know, okay, this is what I'm looking forward to. These are the price points that we have forecast for, and they've bought and paid for that. If I'm correct, if it's like an in and out accounting process, they're going to use what fuel they had and also adjust their costs for the costs that were adjusted for them when it comes to duty, when it comes to the rising price of the oil barrels. I hope I'm saying all this correctly. So I think that adds to the lag factor and why the prices, we aren't seeing them necessarily drop right away, because these retailers and the providers has spent a certain amount of money, so they have to, from my understanding, they have to make sure that they are able to match that in their profits. We spent this much, we have to be able to at least make that, at least break even. And perhaps that's one of the reasons why the gas prices we don't see going down right away. I think it's also everybody's in accounting process, and that's different for each independent retailer. I could be wrong. People can correct me on that. Maybe on another show, because we don't have enough time on this show. We have to get into our next segment, but I want Prentice to give us a tip before we go to the commercial break on how people can be just practice better fuel consumption and efficiency.
A tip I would say is one shop around. The prices are listed on Off-Reg. We have to report to them every Tuesday, and Radio Cayman actually does a good job of letting that out to the public. Like I said, we try our best, utmost best to do the lowest prices. And if you figure, you watch the news like we do, if you figure the price of gas is going to go up, try to, if you have the luxury of to have a few extra dollars, try to fill your car up and don't allow it to go to empty. And we're going into hurricane season, so that's a good idea. And then I would say plan your route, ask your friend, ask your spouse or whatever, where you're going to try to go together. Carpooling is one, and then, try to think out your route where, it makes the more sense rather than going to West Bay and then come back to town and then going back, to 7 Mile Beach. Try to figure out what's the best route and avoid the amount of traffic, which is not easy. Like I said, that's why government is charging what they are to pay for these roads. So that's what I would say. I think air pressure is an important thing too. So keep your car serviced and tuned, proper oil, that type of stuff to help run. But it is what it is. It's a reality. And I think the easier thing is to try to look at other areas in our life. To be quite honest, do we need 2 coffees? Do we need the highest internet plan? Those are the things I think I would suggest offering. Look at a little bit more.
Even with the least expensive plan, we're paying twice as much than those in America with the highest speeds.
That's what I'm saying.
And service.
That's under offer agreement too. So I say we have a good working relationship, but I mean that's one of the biggest expenses I would say in people's lives right now is internet and phone. I would say probably most people spend more of that than gas. And
$5 coffees. I know that's a slight attempt to me looking at my $5 coffee right now. Yes, I agree. Thank you so much, Prentice, for joining us this afternoon. I know we didn't get through everything, but I appreciate you coming on such short notice to talk about, at least from your perspective, what a gas station owner goes through. We heard from Andres over at Rubis, Cayman Islands, and he's the managing director. He gave us the perspective from a distributor point of view, had a little statement from OFREG, and I hope we've educated people a little bit more. I have a better understanding as well, and we got to go to a commercial break, and then after the commercial break, I'm going to be talking about Earth Day, Earth Week activities, and everything Earth-friendly related to the Cayman Islands.
I've got some beautiful clothes. I know just where they go. Puritan Cleaners.
Puritan Cleaners, now using the most popular and eco-friendly cleaning solvents. 2 convenient locations to serve you: Savannah Countryside and Eastern Avenue, Georgetown. Drive-through, rain or shine, free pickup and delivery services available. Call Puritan Cleaners, 949-7104. Also ask about our in-house discounts. Puritan Cleaners, you feel good when you look good.
Busy, busy, busy. Feel like there's not just enough hours in the day. Savannah Pharmacy, service to make your life easier. Now you can WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. And pickup is just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays. WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. Savannah Pharmacy, wholesome values with modern conveniences.
It's in our name. Fried chicken, it's our thing. Others may try, but we have the original. We put the extra and extra crispy. And our secret in everyone's mouth. So if we want to make the best chicken sandwich, we just need to put our name on it. New Kentucky Chicken Sandwich. An abundant triple-breaded filet, premium mayo and pickles, all in a buttered brioche bun. The best chicken sandwich had to be KFC.
Tune in Monday through Friday at 7 a.m. and 10 p.m. for the Daily Sports Report, covering local, regional, and international sports. Proudly brought to you by Dr. Wayne Porter, offering a full-service dermatology and dermatological surgery practice. Call 946-9020 to book your appointment today.
We give you honor and praise, adoration and glory.
Radio Cayman.
Praise time.
Praise him, praise him. Come and let's praise the Lord. Come and let's praise the Lord. Praise him in the morning and in the evening. Oh, let's praise the Lord.
Praise time in the morning.
Praise him, praise him.
Weekdays 6 to 6:30 a.m.
Radio Cayman, waking you up.
Rock my soul in the blues of my faith in your hand. Rock my soul in the blues of my faith in your hand.
Praise time.
I know he cares. He'll always be there. Praise him.
Praise time.
Set your clock for 6 a.m. or you will miss it.
JN Money, money touchdown. Send the money now, reach wow. You say you need some money, JN Money, I can send it in a hurry. Get through quick when you come collect your cash, or use a money card and swipe it in a flash. Send funds to any bank, yeah. Pay your bills quick, yeah. Low fees, you know what it, yeah. JN Money, we are pick, yeah. Send and receive funds at any JN Money location. It's fast, affordable, and convenient. Money touchdown with JN Money. Send funds to any bank, yeah. Pay your bills quick, yeah. Low fees, you know what it, yeah. JN Money, we are pick, yeah.
Call 345-945-2014 for details. Available at JN Money locations across the Cayman Islands.
Every day in the Cayman Islands, nonprofits and their volunteers work tirelessly, improving our communities and the lives of the people within them.
With GiversPlanet.com, you can make a difference by supporting a fundraising effort or starting your own. Givers Planet provides an online solution to conveniently raise money for your worthy cause. Whether you are fundraising for medical needs, education, animal welfare, youth programs, religious missions, school PTA efforts, or a nonprofit.
Simply create your fundraiser at GiversPlanet.com and spread the word to your local and international supporters so that they can visit and make a secure online donation. Start fundraising online today with GiversPlanet.com.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Kathy Miller, filling in for Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. And on this segment of Talk Today, we are discussing Earth Day. Also, it's Earth Week right now. We're experiencing Earth Week from Sunday up until this coming Saturday. That's Earth Week. And joining me in studio, I have Hannah Reid from the Ministry of Sustainability and Climate Resiliency. She's a communications specialist and, might I add, very helpful when trying to get information for Talk Today and our guests. So thank you, Hannah. You have been the most communicative person I've experienced yet.
Oh, thank you so much.
So
thank you for
They
hosting
need to
us.
hear that because we appreciate it, trust me. Also, we have Jane Hokinson from the Department of Environment Terrestrial Resources Unit. She's a research officer. I got the last name right, Jane?
You got it right.
I'm just going to go with your first name.
That's perfect.
Okay, great. And also we have Judy Hurlston from the Department of Environment. She's a public education and research officer. I believe on the phone we should have Will Pinot, who is the CEO of the Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce. Good afternoon, everybody, and good afternoon, Will, if you're on the phone with us.
Yeah, good afternoon.
How are you doing today? Thanks for waiting. I know I went a little over on the last segment. How are you doing, Will?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay, excellent. Now, I know that the Chamber of Commerce has been really big behind Earth Day. Yes. This is one of the largest public celebrations locally, but also globally. I think it is the biggest one-day event that happens around the world that most people participate in. So Earth Day is quite a big thing, and I know the Chamber of Commerce has been very instrumental in pushing Earth Day for the Cayman Islands. Can you tell us what the genesis of this event is and how long the Chamber has been hosting the cleanup?
So keeping the Cayman Islands clean from litter is important for not only our visitors, but also our residents and our communities. And over the years, unfortunately, we've seen a rise in littering in our community, and that's through illegal dump sites, that's through plastics that end up along our reefs, to virtually, those trash receptacles in our backyards where the chickens get in and then suddenly everything gets strewn throughout the community. So what we thought as a chamber is that we would work hard with the community and get people to volunteer in their communities to just every year at least do a very massive cleanup. We know Plastic Free Cayman and other organizations do a great job in regular cleanups in different areas as well as service clubs. But we want the average person, we wanted the families, people who have children, to let them understand that Cayman was never a place where litter was along. It was a place that was clean and respected. So we want to instill in the community from a very young age, keeping Cayman clean is everyone's business. So we've been doing this for 26 years, and over the years, the response has been outstanding. But we would like to see the amount of litter even reduce even further. Every year we go out there and we find a lot that we wish we hadn't found, but we're really enthusiastic by the response of the community, and definitely the responses this year.
Well, you had mentioned, you touched on, we're seeing a rise in litter in the Cayman Islands, which is surprising for me to hear, but what do you think is owing to this rise in litter in Cayman?
Well, I think, the Department of Environmental Health do an outstanding job collecting the litter, but, and from the trash receptacles and everything. And now we have private companies picking up litter as well and regular. But again, it's just the lackadaisical way in which sometimes we respond to our environment. Just, I've seen people throwing things outside their cars. When you go by some of the major thoroughfares, you're very surprised to see how much litter is along the side of the road, just from people that, they're not practicing good anti-littering practices, and they're not respecting the Cayman Islands that we love and enjoy. We've talked a lot in the past, littering. How many times have you heard somebody come up to criminal court for littering, right? So, at the end of the day, littering has to become a top priority for the community. The only way that you make it a top priority is making sure you have a lot of public education. That's why we're doing this every year. We try to raise awareness. In the past, we've constructed littering dispensers that we've placed in public locations. I know Rotary Central does. They have done, littering dispensers in different places where you garbage dispensers. So I think I'm saying that, I'm not saying that we have an increase in litter. I just think it would be nice one year that when we come in from the cleanup, we report a far less of a cleanup than we had in years past.
Well, hopefully. But I can definitely agree that I've seen a lot of buildup of litter on our beaches. And I think particularly shocking for me was when I took a day and I went to Barefoot Beach during the week. And what shocked me was the amount of litter along Barefoot Beach. So for people who are accessing that beach up in East End, you know that you're going there. You know that I didn't see any available garbage cans. So the fact that you're bringing food, you're bringing whatever else with you, it should just be common sense to have your own maybe plastic bag or a garbage bag to be able to put things in, to carry it back up to your car, to dump it in a garbage can along, en route to home. So that's one of the things I would like to see more, at least, is the garbage cans that you had mentioned, to see kind of those disposal areas along not only our most popular area of beach, but the other kind of local, frequented, more secretive places, I guess. Not the normal places that all the tourists are definitely going to be going to every day. So I think the places that we residents will frequent, those places have to be looked at to establish some garbage cans as well for
and that's what we have. We have 6 more garbage receptacles ready to go. So I'll be contacting the Department of Environmental Health, where we actually worked in partnership with Northward Prison, where they constructed them for us.
Great.
And then we put them out in the community as part of our Cayman Clean campaign. And again, the first ones that we put out, and Smith Bacadere, those have gone very well. We're going to put some more. There's some in central Georgetown that we've placed out as well. And again, I have to give my credit to the Department of Parks, Cemeteries. Those guys are absolutely amazing. They're the ones that go out into the private, and they actually they pick up all of those the litter from those dispensers that are within the community. So they do a great job.
Excellent. Sounds like you have great partnerships with the Department of Environment, and then also with Northward. I think that's amazing that you're working with them to create I think you said the garbage disposals?
Yeah, we're working with virtually every organization. Like this year we're working with Junk. island waste carriers. We're working with Plastic Free, working with the Department of Environment. Just try and just have everyone come together and make this a national pride initiative that keeping our islands beautiful is everyone's responsibility. I've had 160 teams with 2,500 volunteers. It's a massive undertaking. And just like to thank my team at the Chamber, Nina and Vanessa, Kerry and Melinda, and the volunteers that have helped us out putting all those supplies together. Like the Department of Environmental Health gives us the garbage bags that we use. Junk has donated the recyclable bags that we use. We have some exciting things this year coming up.
Yes, tell us about those activities, please.
So the first one is we have at Coral Beach, for all the volunteers, we have a free brunch. So, obviously they can go to Coral Beach, prove that they were part of the cleanup. And for those that are out in the roads and in the communities, if you collect in the recyclable bag that we give you plastics and you bring them to the Coral Beach, you have a chance to get some certificates courtesy of Corona. Corona is actually one of the companies in the world that they're trying to be net zero in terms of their plastic consumption.
Right.
And they've done a great job for us, and they're helping sponsor. So we're going to have a weigh station. So when you go collect your plastics, and you can come back to Coral Beach, and then you can get certificates for products, for Corona products. So obviously you have to be over 18 years old to get those certificates. But still, the whole thing we're trying to do is try to measure how much plastics we actually remove from our streets.
I think that's great. I think it's a great partnership that the Chamber has with Corona to have this plastic weighing station. Is it the first time that we're having this weighing station? Yeah. So that's pretty cool, and it's very interesting. I'm going to say photo opportunities for everybody, because we know the fishing tournaments and they have their weighing stations, right, for all the fish that they're catching, right? And it's also always fascinating to look at, and that's a community event, right? Well, not just a community event, but a big country event, the fishing tournaments. Now, something like Earth Day and this cleanup, and it's a bit of a competition, I would say, to say, hey, bring all of your plastic recyclables that you do find, bring them over to Coral Beach, and we'll weigh them on the station, see how much you've brought in, and there's some incentives for you doing that, some prizes that the people are eligible to win, right?
People don't really have to worry about that the plastics will end up in the dump. We're actually having junk. Junk is going to be there with some big dispensers, so once the weighing happens, all of the plastic is actually going to be removed properly. So again, we're just trying to encourage good environmental practices, and this week we've decided to do a lot of social media education through our platforms at the Chamber. Most of our messages dealing with tips on how to be sustainable and environmentally aware. So again, if you go to any of the Chamber social media sites, you'll see tips about protecting the environment and reducing your not only your plastic consumption, but carbon footprint as much as possible.
Right. Now, I want to go back to that weighing station for a second. So with the information that you do get from the weighing station, how are you going to be able to use that data?
Well, I guess what they'll do is ultimately tell us how much has been removed. And I think Corona globally, this is the first, they've tried it in the Dominican Republic, but it didn't work for the first time. So they're trying it here in Cayman for the first time. And then hopefully they'll take it around the world. And then they'll kind of measure how much impact Corona has had through these cleanups to remove plastics around the world.
Oh, very interesting. I love it. I think it's a great idea, and it shows the sustainable brand that Corona is, and hopefully it's a move for other brands and companies to take a more sustainable approach as well. So I think that's a great partnership that the Chamber has. And again, a reminder that Earth Day cleanup in the Cayman Islands is this Saturday, correct?
That's correct.
And we're starting at What time,
Well,
Will? Do I have to buy my $5 coffee?
It begins, 6 o'clock in the morning or whenever the crack of dawn, so people can be nice and cool during the cleanup. And then the brunch is at 11 o'clock at Coral Beach.
Okay, excellent. We have our theme, which is Earth Day, for Earth Day 2022, and the theme is Invest in Our Planet. How can the private sector support sustainability in the Cayman Islands? Will, are you there?
You want me to continue?
Yes, yeah, if you can. Yeah, because I made you guys start a little late, so I'm going to combine the next two commercial breaks and after this question here.
Well, I think, the first off, I think, how can we be? I think the private sector is environmentally responsible. I mean, there is so much that the private sector has done over the last decade to help, shift the conversation, from using solar in the community, electric cars, legislation, and finally getting that took many years. If you remember, there was some lobbying going on. That took a long time.
Yes.
Now we have many companies that are selling products. The government has put some duty waivers on certain products for environmental products. So it's everyone's working together. I think the private sector is taking a leadership role, and then within possibility. I mean, we have to do it gradually. We're seeing the impact of the fuel price increases because of maybe policies that weren't in the best in the country, in the world, right? So at the end of the day, we all have a part to play, and I think the private sector is trying to drive change, and they're doing that through the way in which they purchase products, the way in which they communicate, the way in which they travel. I think travel, for business conferences is probably way down, not only because of the pandemic, but because some companies are, readjusting their travel plans because of the carbon footprint. So there's just so many different ways that private sector is helping to lead this conversation and change.
I think one of the biggest ones is with Regen, Cayman's Energy and Recycling Center, the partnership between DART and Cayman Islands government. I think that's a big thing for us to look forward to for a more sustainable future and a better waste management system for the Cayman Islands.
And then the government putting sustainability at the top of one of their ministry responsibilities, which is very important. It sends a message, and it hopefully sends a message to the private sector that sustainability is important. I mean, you read today's Compass, and you see the article about 10 ways, to become more sustainable, and it comes back down to development too. And
it does, but on one hand, Will, there is that ministry created for sustainability and climate change, but there's also, on the other hand, the continued developments that, looking at destroying the mangroves and continued beach erosion, which are major environmental factors for the Cayman Islands. So I'm waiting to see when this balance will be made, or if this ministry is there. One sec, Hannah. Or if this ministry is there to almost kind of, yes, we're trying to do something with it and putting more of a focus, which I think is important, but we also need to remember what our development policies are.
National conversation, and we've had these types of conversations leading up to every elections over the last 4 years, or 4 decades probably. And
you're right, decades.
And the end of the day, it comes back down to the development plan, right?
Yes.
And how we want to develop the islands. And again, I think that is one of the priorities for this government, from what I understand. So when that conversation begins, we have to have a real good deep dive into what it means to have sustainable development. What does that really mean?
Right.
Does that mean looking at your population, that look at traffic? It's a whole bunch of things, including your environmental capital, your reefs. What is the true economic value of our reefs, a healthy reef? Is it $1 billion? Etc.
Right, there's so many factors to consider, and I know we're going to be getting a a report, hopefully within the summertime, from the Department of Environment on really on sustainability and I guess suggestions that are going to be looking forward to how we can possibly change development in the Cayman Islands to a more sustainable development practices. Hannah, I know I cut you off a minute ago, so if you would like to, you wanted to make a comment, so before we go to the commercial break, I want you to be able to get that comment in. Sorry for cutting you off.
No worries at all. I had a couple of thoughts, and one of them actually, I think I'm going to step back to Will's point about environmental protection and anti-littering sort of being a collective responsibility, because it certainly resonated with what I heard yesterday at the National Trust Conference Day during the Legacy Youth Panel. And one of the panelists, Ali McRae, said, basically if you see something, say something.
Yes.
And pointing out that role that we each have to play in helping each other to hold ourselves accountable to environmental best practices. So when we see somebody throw down their takeaway or their can or whatever it is, to be able to feel empowered to say, hey, no, that's not right. That's not how we do things here. And I think it's that his comments about that personal level of accountability, I think resonated with me from what I heard yesterday at the conference. And I think now stepping back to the comments about that bigger picture of sustainable development in the Cayman Islands and what sustainability means and what climate resiliency means, I think that broad, holistic and integrated approach is what the ministry and the government is trying to achieve. And it comes into that balance. We talk about the triple bottom line, which is economy, environment, and society. And they're interlinked, they're interdependent. You sort of can't have a successful one of them without having each of the others be successful. So I think it's when we're looking at this conversation about sustainability, it is about that big picture. It is about how we ensure that we are protecting our environment, being good stewards of our environment, at the same time that we're providing the opportunities that allow people to live their best lives in the Cayman Islands and allow people to achieve prosperity. And I think, and that resonates with the UN Sustainable Development Goals that take that bigger, that higher level approach, the 17 interrelated goals. And I think Earth Day is the opportunity for us to focus in on Goal 14 and Goal 15, which is life on land and life below water, and how we can each do our part to protect those natural resources that we have and that we sometimes take for granted, I think.
Ooh. I'm going to ask you to pause there. I know we have to go to a really long commercial break, and I know Susan's probably gonna have some words with me afterwards. Oh, she said I'm good, but we're gonna take a break, and I'm going to touch on a couple of the points that you just made, but we're gonna go to a commercial break first.
A caring and community spirit, cherished family and cultural values. These are some of the things that still embodies the Caymanian way of life in the Eastern Districts today. Savannah Pharmacy, your neighborhood pharmacy, located in Countryside Shopping Village, is delighted to offer products and services of real value. Whether it's catering to your family's medical needs or carrying apparel, gifts, and beauty products, Savannah Pharmacy provides you with more than just prescriptions. Remember, they're always just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours, including Sundays and holidays. Savannah Pharmacy. For more information, call 946-3336.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab. Blood test, x-ray, and mammogram, all of that is MedLab. Affordable fees and friendly service, a full professional team. MedLab is always comfortable, MedLab is always clean. For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Call 949-7331 and ask about MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
You see how hard it's raining?
Yeah, and I don't have time to fight traffic and get my lunch from Subway. I have so much work to do.
Why don't you order Subway by using the Let's Eat or Bento app? Save time, stay dry, and get your sandwich fast.
I never thought of that. Great idea. I'm going to order now.
Order me a veggie pizza while you're at it.
And a cookie platter for the office. Too busy at work or home? Is the rainy weather stopping you from dining out? Order your favorite Subway sandwich, wrap, or pizza through the Let's Eat or Bento app with fast and reliable delivery. Subway, eat fresh.
It's the right time and this is the place to be.
Give your space a refresh with the spring savings sale this April at Thomason Furniture and Mattress Gallery. Sofas, sectionals, and love seats take 20% off the lowest price. 3-piece queen bedroom sets in solid wood take 20% off. 5-piece dining sets, TV stands, coffee tables, and wall shelves take 20% off. Sheets, pillows, fragrance warmers, and sprays take 15% off. Great savings on mattresses, foundations, and frames. Indoor and outdoor furniture. The spring savings sale in store only all April long at Tomlinson Furniture and the Mattress Gallery at Tomlinson Building, Walkers Road. Check our Facebook or Instagram for sale flyer details.
It's the right time and this is the place to be.
The annual business surveys are ongoing. The surveys are conducted by the Economics and Statistics Office and seek to measure the economic performance of all local industries. The survey forms for this year were mailed or emailed to all relevant entities operating in the Cayman Islands. The surveys are confidential under the Statistics Act and are exempt from the Freedom of Information Act. Your response matters. Do your part. Fill out and return your survey forms to the Economics and Statistics Office. For assistance in filling up the forms or for more information, visit www.eso.ky or call 244-4676 or 244-4607. Better data, better decisions, better business.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. We are talking about Earth Day and the Earth Week activities. Earth Day is officially the 22nd of April, which is Friday, but we are seeing the Earth Day celebration in the Cayman Islands. The big Earth Day cleanup is this Saturday, April 23rd, starting from the break of dawn, which might be around 6 a.m. And, I can't remember the time that Will had said to come to Coral Beach for
I think it was 11.
the brunch. 11? We heard 11? All right. 11, and bring your plastics in a bag, maybe a recyclable bag. And they're going to have a weigh station for your plastics as well, with some incentives, some prizes given out to people who are bringing their plastics to be weighed. It's the first time the Chamber has done something like this with Corona. This is a Corona initiative, and the Chamber has partnered with them. So they're going to be weighing how much plastic really was able to be gathered. Clearly, it's not going to be all the plastic in the waste gathered during the Earth Day cleanup, but it's going to be from the people that actually show up to Coral Beach and want to see how much waste they were able to bring in, plastic waste, that is. All right, we're back in our studio with Hannah Reid, Jane Hokinson, and Jane, I said I wasn't going to say the last name again, but I think I got it right.
That's
and
perfect.
with Judy Earlston. Mm-hmm. And right before our break, Hannah was making several points, great points, and I think she said 3 underline or key factors, which was something, land, sea, society, something and something. But then you said a big focus was on what can we do right now on land and
sea.
And
yeah,
sea.
Definitely those would be the sustainable development goals that are focused on
there you go.
That align, I think, closely with Earth Day. Others as well, affordable and clean energy, sustainable cities and communities. But I think when we're talking about Earth Day and the activities that we associate with Earth Day, and the reason that Earth Day was started in the 1970s, I think it was
1970, yeah.
Those are the 2 goals I think come to people's minds, especially when we're talking about anti-litter, cleaning up our environment, what we can do as individuals.
What would some of those suggestions? Wait, before I go there. Now, we already know about some of the policies that we've done in Cayman. We have marine parks that we protect, and we've also extended the area for the marine parks. I don't know if we have the information in this segment that we can share to see how, I guess, effective those policies are. But I do know that Jane can speak at least from an on-land perspective, right, Jane?
Yes, I can certainly try.
And let us know what some of the policies are out there that have been created to help protect our environment. Are we seeing improvement? Or is it effective?
Well, the department is historically known for the marine parks. So I think it's next year that we have 35-year anniversary of marine parks. And certainly the marine parks is not my specialty, but I do know that we've seen spillover effects into non-protected areas. In other words, the protected areas are extremely resourceful, and the fish are very productive there, and so that spills into areas that are not protected. So that's certainly a very good indicator of such measures being helping with sustainability and resiliency of our reefs and our marine environments. And of course, I work in the terrestrial sector of the Department of Environment, so we focus on trying to mimic what we've done in the marine environment, but of course on the land, so in the terrestrial environment. And some ways we can do that is, of course, by protecting land, but we can also do conservation agreements with landowners. There are various ways of making sure that what we see on land that is purely Caymanian and endemic, which means not found anywhere else in the world, will thrive for generations to come. And I think that's going back to what Will said earlier about respecting Cayman Islands by not littering. It's the same thing. You want to protect the habitat and clean up the habitat, and Earth Day is a really good event where we bring that to light and we become more conscious of our efforts. But really in the department, every day is Earth Day, as we talked about earlier. And so it extends to also respecting the animals that do live on the land, and making sure that we don't take everything away from our endemic species like the parrots and the blue iguanas and the rock iguanas on the Sister Islands.
On our commercial break, you had mentioned that there's actually poaching of parrot nests.
That's correct, and this is a really good time of the year to bring that up because the parrots are nesting now. And because the island is so heavily developed, you will find parrot nests in urban areas, in people's gardens, or in various parking lots, etc. And when you do see parrots nesting, it is worth keeping an eye out. Just making sure you see the parrots there from day to day, that the tree is not suddenly sawed in half or destroyed, because unfortunately there is still an illegal local market for parrot nestlings, so people will take the babies and sell them. So, of course, what people can do for today, Earth Day, on Friday, Earth Day, but generally through the season, is to keep a lookout. If you do know where there is a wild parrot nest, that is such a precious resource. And you can do your bit by just keeping an eye out for that parrot. And do let us know if you ever see anything untoward or some kind of, weird interaction or anything like that. We appreciate it so very much.
Why wouldn't you want to protect the parrots? Being
Right.
from Canada, Judy, I think you can agree with this. Having moved to Cayman and just seeing parrots flying around every once in a while, it's a beautiful thing. It never gets old.
And
it
at
is
the
an
risk
absolutely
of
beautiful thing.
like anthropomorphizing them a little bit, but they mate for life. So it's really, they have these incredible emotional connections with each other, with their families, and they are families. Like that's a mom and a dad and a baby parrot. So at the risk of of maybe getting it too emotional and too gooey, but at the same time, those are incredibly intelligent and emotive animals. So to be able to protect them, it's an incredible thing. It really is.
I didn't know they mate for life. That's a
And
interesting
they
fact.
grieve too.
They
we
grieve,
have
yeah.
we have those incidences at the sanctuary too, where they grieve for their lost partner and they lose their appetite and lose weight and sometimes can actually die from grief. Yeah, they're very, very intelligent.
That is very interesting to me. I wouldn't think that about parrots or.
I've even heard that
birds,
about the
really.
Siri.
That's
true.
true.
That when they're friends and they've been hanging out and one gets lost, the other one is looking for its friend and keep going back to the same place looking for its friend. So I mean, it's a natural emotion.
Yeah, I've heard that. I mean, penguins. I've heard that they mate for life as well. I don't know if they have a grief process like parrots do, but it is interesting. It just brings us back to the fact that we are responsible for our environment, and our environment does include other living species. It includes us as humans, but then there are other living organisms out there, and we have to just learn how to take care of it, and the best way to take care of it. So a lot of people I didn't know it was a nesting season right now. So I didn't know this is the time to really be looking out for it. We know that we have a turtle nesting season, for example.
Right.
And so we're a lot more cognizant on the beach and aware and being respectful of the turtle markers.
That's very true.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Is there any way we can mark, I guess, if there's if there's parrots nesting, is there any way for people to mark that?
Well, if you do see a parrot nest, you are more than welcome to contact me at the Department of Environment, because I do actually map them, the nests, just so that we have a better idea when we get applications come in for development, and we can make recommendations that at least an old tree, leave it just for at least another season, parrot season, preferably for longer than that.
Okay. We have to go to a news break. I do have a couple more questions for you after our news, but I want people to hang on. Let's get these couple of questions out there with Jane and Judy and Hannah. And right now, 2 p.m. news.
Today's biggest news.
Radio Cayman. Your voice, your choice.
Local, regional, international. This is Headlines from Radio Cayman's newsroom.
Today's biggest news.
With your latest headlines, I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins. A wealth structuring conference hosted by the STEP Cayman Islands branch at the Kimpton Seafire will be held Thursday, April 28th, 12:30 p.m. to 6:30 p.m. Registration is $200 U.S. for non-STEP members and $150 U.S. for members. To register or for more information, email stepcayman@gmail.com. In international news, the Catholic Diocese in New Jersey has agreed to pay $87.5 million U.S. to hundreds of people sexually abused by the church. In a first, the deal also paves the way for lawsuits against insurance firms that protect dioceses against charges of negligence. It is one of the largest settlements involving the Catholic Church in the U.S., which has been accused of covering up decades of misdeeds. Germany has said it will halt imports of Russian oil by the end of this year. Germany currently buys a quarter of its oil and 40% of its gas from Russia and has warned that it could face a recession if supplies suddenly stopped. The U.S. has already banned Russian oil imports, while the U.K. plans to phase them out by the end of the year. In South Korea, when a baby is born, they are considered a year old. Come New Year's Day, they gain another year. This means a baby born in December would be considered to be 2 years old in just a few weeks. But this Korean age method may soon change as the country's president-elect is pushing for the centuries-old method of counting to be abolished. The chief of the president-elect's transition committee said the incoming administration was looking to standardize the way age is counted in order to bring South Korea in line with the rest of the world. These are your headlines. I'm Felicia Rankin-Solins.
For the latest in news and information,
Follow Radio Cayman on social media, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Download the Radio Cayman app or log on to our website, radiocayman.gov.ky.
Did you know that ValueMed Pharmacy has a free online prescription service? Managing your health and medical requirements has never been easier with ValueMed. Simply visit value-medpharmacy.com. That's VALU-medpharmacy.com and click the Refill Prescriptions tab on our website. Fill in the information for new prescriptions or refills and choose your preferred pickup location. ValueMed on Walkers Road or Boddentown. Then bring in your original prescription from your doctor when picking up. There's no need to stand in line and wait for your prescription. Save time and pick up prescriptions at your convenience by visiting value-medpharmacy.com. That's VALU-medpharmacy.com.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Ask our professional team about the benefits of cutting-edge technology with MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Kathy Miller, filling in for Sterling Dwayne Ebanks. And on this segment of Talk Today, we're talking about Earth Day. And in studio, we have Hannah Reid, Jane Hokinson, and Judy Hurlston. And we were discussing right before the break what some of the Department of Environment, what some of their initiatives are from a land perspective in how they're supporting the environment. And I want to know what the public can do to help assist the Department of Environment when it comes to protecting our environment?
Well,
loaded question.
Currently, we are right in the middle of the NCC's call for nominations for protected areas. So this is an excellent opportunity for anyone in the public to think about a special place that is, in their hearts, that they really connect with, that they think should be protected. There's no format. It's really open-ended. The whole purpose of it is for people to think about what an area means to them and to make a nomination based on that. The criteria are: why should the area be protected? What species of concern possibly are there? And, are there any protective measures that might be needed for it? But really what we need is a boundary, to describe where the area is and why it's important to you. And you can email that to conservationcouncil@gov.ky. conservationcouncil@gov.ky. And our website is conservation.ky. And that's all that's needed. And all of those nominations are going to be reviewed by the terrestrial team. They're going to do a technical review, and then it just goes through this whole process. And then the areas that make it through, they go back to public consultation, and that's when we're really going to invite people to respond and talk about what of those areas now that are in the running to really be protected. What do people think about those? And they can essentially vote or make comments about that. So that's a really wonderful process that's available to people. And I think the other thing too is having so many amazing species and areas in Cayman. I know that they're so special to people. Like, people really take national pride in all kinds of different things. We're talking about the parrots. We're talking about iguanas. We have endemic species in the sister islands of both parrots and iguanas and other species. So I think it's really important when we were talking about see something, say something. If you see something, people fishing in a marine park or people scoping out a parrot nest, or, I think having a reporting system is really important. It doesn't mean it's not really a bad thing. I think it just means that we can't be everywhere at once, and it takes a community, it takes a village to really help us all achieve our goals. And certainly, part of Earth Day is conservation, and that's definitely a big part of the DOE. So I wanted to let people know that we have some hotlines available for people. So turtle nests, it's turtle nesting season. It's just starting. So loggerheads are starting to come in and nest. So if you see turtle tracks, or you see a nest, or even if you think they're turtle tracks or a turtle nest, please report it to our hotline, and that is 938-NEST or 938-6378. We also have our wildlife hotline. So anything you want to report in regards to wildlife, you can call or message 925-7625. And then our general enforcement number is 916-4271, and you can call or WhatsApp any of those lines just to report anything, whether it's turtle nest, whether it's an injured, or a parrot. Even we have skittle deed. There's all kinds of things that we appreciate getting reports and having those eyes and ears out in the public. So thank you.
Thank you, Judy. A lot of good information there. Good to know. So turtle nesting season is upon us as well. So parrot nesting season and turtle nesting season. Did you want to add anything to that, Jane?
No, I think that was wonderful.
Okay, excellent. Now, Hannah, in pretty much closing for us for our segment here, how is the ministry, so your ministry, which is Ministry of Sustainability and Climate Resiliency, how is the ministry celebrating Earth Day 2022, and how can the public participate?
Awesome. So the ministry is actually, we have a team that's going to be supporting the Chamber of Commerce island-wide cleanup. So we'll be out cleaning up trash on Saturday morning, bright and early. But we're also one of several organizations, the Department of Environment included, that have teamed up to create a calendar of events to celebrate Earth Day throughout the month of April. And this event, this multi organizational effort has been led by the Department of Environment for 10 plus years, I believe specifically by Leah Grant. And it's a great opportunity for people to get involved with a variety of organizations. So very quickly, the National Trust of the Cayman Islands is celebrating their 35th anniversary and Earth Day all this week. And they had a conference yesterday, a mangrove lunch and learn today. Specialty tours are available tomorrow, and then a corporate dress down day this Friday. Next week, they'll be rolling out the dress down day into the schools. The Cayman Turtle Center is planning a turtle release this Friday, a symbolic tree planting of mangroves. I think happened yesterday. A turtle crawl fun run / walk on the 24th, and they will be releasing 30 ball pates next week as well.
30 what?
Ball pates, white-crowned pigeons.
Oh.
They're beautiful birds. They're mostly black, white head. I think they also, I don't know if they mate for life, but they definitely, you can usually see 2 of them at any given time. And people who are visiting the turtle farm this Saturday, if they're wearing their Chamber of Commerce cleanup t-shirt, can also get 50% off admissions. The Botanic Park will be offering free admission on the 23rd of April, and Cayman Eco is hosting a sustainability-themed market at the lobby on the 30th of April, which the Ministry of Sustainability and Climate Resiliency and the Department of Environment and a bunch of other organizations and eco-vendors will be at. And the Ministry of Sustainability will be using that opportunity to give away some seeds and hopefully saplings for the Jubilee tree planting initiative as well. So really encourage everyone to join us at that event.
I'm coming for that event.
We're gonna
I really want to
end
plant some
Earth
trees,
Month
so.
with some incredible opportunities for everyone to get involved.
Awesome. And I'm sure that people aren't going to remember all of those events. So if there's a site that you can direct them to it all.
I think the best place to check out would be perhaps the Department of Environment social media for more information.
Yeah, you can check out our Facebook page, and then I'll also put it up on the website as well, which is doe.ky.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, ladies, for all of your information today. And as a reminder, when we did have Will Pinot from the Chamber of Commerce on, he joined us by phone. He did let us know that it is this Saturday, April 20th. Oh, Will is still there. I didn't know you were still there, Will. This Saturday.
I'm listening, Kathy.
My apologies. I would have roped you in a little sooner there. Instead of me giving a recap of what's going to be happening this Saturday, I welcome you to give those closing comments to our listeners.
Well, we're encouraging the community to come out in big force on Saturday morning. There's 160 teams with 2,500 volunteers that are registered to participate. That doesn't mean that you can't participate if you're not registered already. We have run out of T-shirts. Thanks, Guy Harvey did the T-shirts for us again this year. So it's our 6th year for Guy Harvey. He's an awesome guy, and he always does the nice design for us.
He does.
And then 11 o'clock, you bring your recyclable and your recyclable bags for the weigh-in station at Coral Beach. And then you have a chance to get some gift certificates from Corona if you're over 18 years old. And then you can also enjoy the brunch and maybe take a dip in the sea at Coral Beach. It's a beautiful location. And again, just like to thank everyone, including those lovely ladies, all the lovely ladies in the studio, all the hard work that each one of them does to protect our environment and to promote. It really pains me sometimes when I read the newspaper when I see the poaching and all these irresponsible practices that happen in our community. I mean, there are so many countries around the world that would love what we have here, and for some people to be so mindless to do some of the things like littering and poaching, and it's just terrible. It just makes me really angry. But this event is intended to be something that we all come together as a community, and hopefully this begins our practice for the whole year to keep Cayman clean as much as we can, and to keep on the course to keep Cayman clean and green. One final thing, I'd just like to say, I think one of the things for sustainability that we probably need to focus more of our attention on is food security. I mean, I think the war in the Ukraine has probably sent a sobering message to the world about the importance of one country to the food chain. And the reality is, I think Cayman probably has to step up its ability to produce some of its own food as much as possible. I know there is some now. I'm so impressed with the egg production.
Yes.
We're getting more and more egg production in the country. And I think, again, it comes back down to all the ladies' conversations about Department of Environment, where we have to protect our environment so that we can use some of that to even grow some of our own food. And I'd love to see Earth Day next year focus on plants that we actually can eat. You know, things that people can grow in their backyards so that, you know, we always have food security in our minds, particularly as we approach the hurricane season.
I agree with you, Will, and I think it was more during the pandemic when I'm seeing the grocery store shelves empty for months with certain brands of food that I'm used to buying, or even not even have to be branded, just food coming in. There's been such a crazy supply of it. We're either not getting enough, or there's stuff coming in that is not necessarily really consumed in Cayman. So it's a big wake up call for me.
Local pumpkin and different. A lot of people are growing some great products.
They are, and I've been supporting that. So I'm thankful for our Cayman farmers and
Saturday's
producers.
Farmers Market Day, so if anyone wants to support the local farmers, you can do that once you've had your brunch.
Another great green initiative. So we got to wrap up. We've got to go to a commercial break, and then I have to welcome our final guests for today. So thank you for joining us and for talking about Earth Day with us. And if you want to know a little bit more about what the Cayman Islands Chamber of Commerce is doing, also check out their social media pages. They have a lot of tips that highlight simple changes that make a huge difference in reducing your carbon footprint and waste.
For medical lab services in Cayman, go straight to MedLab.
For a full range of medical services, pleasant, clean and comfortable environment, no long lines and affordable fees, visit MedLab at the Smith Road Plaza. Open Monday to Friday, 8:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. and half day on Saturdays. Call 949-7331 to make your appointment.
For medical lab services in Cayman, MedLab.
Ask our professional team about the benefits of cutting-edge technology with MedLab's new state-of-the-art digital mammogram machine.
Busy, busy, busy. Feel like there's not just enough hours in the day. Savannah Pharmacy, service to make your life easier. Now you can WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. And pickup is just around the corner with everything your family needs and convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays. WhatsApp your prescription order to 929-5045. Savannah Pharmacy, wholesome values with modern conveniences.
Research tells us that the best age for parents to start having conversations with their children about the dangers of underage drinking is when their kids are 9 years old. Studies show that parents have a significant influence on young people's decision to drink. So talk, they are listening. The NDC offers parents advice on how to talk to their children about underage drinking and prepares you for the tough questions like, did you drink as a child? For tips, log on to www.ndc.ky. This message was brought to you by the National Drug Council and Radio Cayman.
On April 23rd, Payne Duty Free is opening a brand new store. Join us for the launch of Payne Leather Goods and Accessories at 40 Royal Plaza, Edward Street. Shop and experience a selection of high-quality leather bags and accessories by brands such as Kate Spade and Food Lab. Enjoy live entertainment and complimentary drinks and bites. Visit Payne Duty Free Facebook for more information.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
On a daily basis, making it easy to connect with you, our listeners. Add us to WhatsApp today, 925-3261. That's 925-3261.
Radio Cayman.
Send a text or voice note.
Can I send a request, please?
You don't really have to ask us. Just send a request.
This is a shout out to my ex.
Radio Cayman, the voice of the Cayman Islands.
Radio Cayman, maintaining the innovation.
Listen to the general public.
Your thoughts are just a telephone call away. 1-800-534-8255.
What the public is saying.
Let your voice be heard. And now,
Radio Cayman's Talk Today.
Good afternoon and welcome back to Talk Today. I'm Kathy Miller, filling in for Sterling Dwayne Ebanks, and we've had a pretty full day today, I would have to say, from the gas prices to talking Earth Day, and now a little bit on the cusp of Earth Day for sure. We have guests in the studio, Ollie Rush, who's an ultra swimmer and founder of Project Planet, and we have Claire from Plastic Free Cayman. And Claire, I have to say kudos to you because you do a lot on, at least in social media that I see, and a lot of initiatives in Cayman to try to get Cayman plastic free. Although, man, I want my straws. I will say that. I want the plastic straws back. But welcome to our studios this afternoon. How are you guys doing today?
Thank you. Great.
Thanks so much for having us in.
Good. Now, Ollie, I don't know anything really about you. Yeah. So this is a great opportunity for me to get to know you, for our listeners to get to know you, but to also understand what you're doing in Cayman. What is an ultra swimmer? And you're training for something called the Grand Swim.
Yeah, absolutely. So it all started back in the very early days. I was a competitive swimmer. And from that really developed a love of the ocean. And obviously being around the ocean all the time, you see the plastic pollution and the damage it causes firsthand. So that's kind of a fast forward of where we are now. Ultra swimmer. So basically I found out about 4 or 5 years ago that I got quite a good, lazy, efficient front crawl stroke, which seems to get me around these big islands. 2 years ago I swam the length of the Jurassic Coast, which is a 100-mile swim in England, in Dorset.
The Jurassic Coast?
Jurassic,
okay,
yeah.
Okay.
That was a stage swim, so we did 10 miles a day for 10 days. I slept or didn't sleep, as the case may be, sometimes in the van.
How do you train for that?
To be honest, it's a lot of sea swimming, a lot of pool swimming, obviously eating correctly as well. So at the moment for this swim, which I'm sure we'll go into in a minute, I've been swimming up to about 75 kilometres a week in a pool, which is, to be honest, more of a mind game than anything. It's really difficult to try and get into a place of almost meditation, which you need to be able to swim for these lengths of time. So
I can imagine that.
Yeah, it can be tricky.
It's like a rhythm in your mind. I mean, your body has to go into a certain rhythm, right? So I can imagine that you are in a meditation state in your mind just to keep him, just to keep on swimming in that exact, I guess, the strokes, the right timing that you need to do, just like marathon running.
Exactly.
Once you get into a certain pace, you want to keep that pace. And
yeah, it's like a metronome, and it's difficult, to be honest, to get into that in a pool because you've got tumble turn or push off the wall, however you do it in a swimming pool, 25 metres. So doing that for up to 8 hours a day, which is what I have been doing back in the UK to train and prepare for this swim, and then to come here and to be able to swim in the most beautiful waters with turtles, stingrays.
Also warm.
And warm, 27 degrees, which is an absolute treat, to be honest. My last swim was around the Isle of Wight in the UK, which the temperature was a lot less. It was maybe 16 degrees, I would say, in a wetsuit. And that was a similar size. That was 65 miles around the island. We're estimating it's going to be a similar distance around here. Depends whether we go in and out of the reefs. There's going to be a lot to do with the conditions on the day as well, to which decisions we'll make. But it's been a lot of training. And
I need to know how you wrap your mind around that. Hey, I'm going to swim around this island today, or the Isle of Wight, as you said. Your last swim?
Yeah.
Isle of Wight. My bad. That was your last swim.
Yeah.
So how do you wrap this around your mind? Like, hey, I think I'm going to try this. I get adventurous things. I'm a bit of a thrill seeker, but that I cannot wrap myself around. That seems as if it's punishment.
It's strange, isn't it? It's people from the outside look in and they probably see, it is all punishment. But actually, for me, when I'm swimming, it's probably the most relaxed I ever am. Normal everyday life, I find fairly stressful, to be honest. I find it quite difficult to see the way that we're treating the planet and the 100 mile an hour that we all seem to run around at. So actually, for me, to go in the sea and to get my head down and just to swim, it's medicine. So
okay,
yeah.
So for what might seem a little questionable to me, for you it's all the peace in the world.
Absolutely.
It makes all the sense in the world. So what is the Grand Swim?
So the Grand Swim, I'm not sure how we came up with that name. Obviously Grand for Grand Cayman. And yeah, so we're going to do it's a circumnavigation of the island, 65 miles, as we touched on that earlier. It's going to depend on the weather conditions, in a wanna. So that's the big thing with this, really. I'm tempted to swim around in one go.
Okay, all right. I was a oneer. I was like, I don't know this phrase. Yeah. Okay, in one go.
Yeah, so we're aiming, estimating that it's going to take around 30 hours. Yeah, it's a big swim. So I'll be stopping every sort of half an hour for food, drinks, and probably some ibuprofen as well towards the end.
So when we're saying you're stopping, your stoppage is in the water still, like on a boat maybe, or
yeah, absolutely.
You'll
so
come out the water.
Yeah, we're going to have kayaks. I'm not allowed to get out of the water. It's a world record attempt, so I'm not allowed to touch the boat. People will be passing me food, either attached a bottle attached to a bit of string. They'll throw that. I'll have a very quick drink, and we'll get back to work. So that's the plan.
So I can't remember the name of the swimmer. I believe it was a woman a few years ago that went from, was it the Brack to Grand Cayman something? Claire's nodding yes, she remembers this.
Penny.
So Penny, yes. So what I remember, I can't remember if she was in a cage or if she had something kind of around her, but you know, this is the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Sharks, right? So this is automatically the sharks are going to come for you. I think there was some sightings around Penny for when she did it, but it wasn't anything that was threatening to her. That alone would keep me out of the water for sure. So when it comes to protection for you, how are you going to protect yourself, or what protection measures are there for you when you're in the water?
Yeah, so it's something we definitely have been taking seriously. There is a threat from sharks, albeit small. We've got some equipment which actually emits like an electromagnetic field, or I think that's probably the way of putting it. And it basically it puts off the sharks. If they come too close, they'll hopefully turn. That's what the manufacturers tell us. Whether it works on the day is yet to be seen. But
you haven't tested this before?
It's tested equipment. It has been used before.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So I mean, like I say, the threat from sharks is there. It's not a great big threat. I mean. The sort of sharks that are here, I've been told, are quite timid anyway. They keep themselves.
The nurse sharks are timid.
The nurse sharks,
they're friendly.
Yeah. Sharks are amazing, and that's a massive motivation for the swim as well. It's not just about plastic pollution and obviously raising money at the same time. It's about trying to make us all appreciate nature and the animals that live in the ocean. So,
well, I was just going to get to the purpose of this swim.
Yeah.
So it's called the Grand Swim. We know that it's about 65 miles around Grand Cayman.
Yeah.
You're trying to do this in one go. It'll take maybe about 30 hours, which I think that's incredible. So you must have incredible endurance and strength and stamina to get through this. So major kudos to you, because honestly, I can't even do the 1 mile sea swim. I can only breaststroke, so I'm not a swimmer.
Yeah.
But that alone was too much for me. I couldn't even use flippers. It's not my cup of tea. Put it that way. Love being in the water, but that was just too much for me. So there is a lot that you're going to have to be dealing with. So the weather is one of those things that you had mentioned. It's going to be dependent on what the weather's like. What is your swim date? I thought it was maybe later in May.
Yeah, so we've got a couple of weather windows, to be honest, at the minute, that we're still ironing out. At the moment, we're saying between the 23rd to the 27th, but we're also going to look a little bit beforehand just to give us as big a window as possible, because if the weather conditions aren't right, we basically can't do the swim. It's got to be perfect conditions. If it was like it is out there today, we wouldn't be going. So we need to wait for perfect conditions so that it gives us. It's going to be a super difficult swim, even if we've got perfect conditions. So if it's tricky,
what would perfect conditions in what you need them to be? What are those perfect conditions?
We're not going to get them, to be honest. Perfect conditions would be super flat, calm, cloud cover, so I don't get sunburn. And 24 hours of daylight. In reality, we've got 12 hours of daylight. We're going to get sunburn, and yeah, so that's what it is. I'm aware it's a massive task.
All right, we're raising money here.
Yeah.
Right. So what is the final purpose of this? How are people able to? You're raising the money, but how are people able to? I guess donate. Where is this going to go? The funds that you do raise.
Yeah. So it's basically all about raising money and awareness for plastic pollution. And Claire lives on the island. She does an incredible job with Plastic Free Cayman, and it's just basically trying to get as much as we can to help them continue the incredible work that they're doing here on the island.
Claire, can you touch on this a little more?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
So a little bit of background though as well with Ollie. One of our volunteers went to school with Ollie.
Okay.
And so she was like, this guy's just swam around the Isle of Wight, and I'm like you with the sea swim.
Really?
1 hour is like plenty.
1 mile.
1 mile.
Right.
Yeah, but it takes
when you
about
can
an hour,
only
I think.
breaststroke. Yeah.
I'm the same. So she said, this guy put you in touch. What do you think? I was like, yeah, I mean, I would love to, have someone like that come, and it's kind of, it's so. What he's doing is almost impossible, but then so is the plastic pollution situation, and so the two link together. So it's so commendable. the commitment he's got to this. So raising money so to sponsor Ollie. So we have been collecting sponsorship money already. We've got a GoFund. Ollie's got a GoFund page, which we can drop a link to later.
Absolutely.
From the UK, and then also here, it would just be to get in touch with Plastic Free Cayman if you can sponsor. We take cash or check. We're a registered non-profit, so we've had a couple of companies already give us some money. We've got Maples, have helped us out a little bit, and Morant have given us, and then we had just a random neighbour the other day as well, gave us some money. So the ultimate goal is to raise funds, so we can continue our work.
Awareness campaign and in the support of Ollie and what he's doing for this.
Mm-hmm.
This I don't want to call it a race. Basically, it's a project. It's an initiative to raise the awareness to hopefully reduce plastic. On my trip back from the UK in October, we had to land in the Bahamas for briefly an hour. I was scared to death that Plastic Free Cayman would hear the statement that they made on the plane about, I think it's no plastic bags are allowed in the Bahamas anymore. It was something that I was like, what did they say? I absolutely did not believe it. But I think it was plastic bags. So I don't know how true this is. I have to check with some Bahamian friends. But I understand that at least the initiatives that they're doing in the Bahamas has possibly eliminated plastic bags in that country. Again, I don't know how factual that is, but that was an announcement that was made on the plane. So it was a warning to any tourists, anybody disembarking, that make sure there's no plastic waste coming from plastic bags coming from you, because it's been banned in the Bahamas now. Do you know anything about that initiative?
Yeah, I've got a friend called Crystal who founded Bahamas Plastic Movement, and they got 4 items banned, I believe.
Wow.
They got, bags, straws, I believe single-use cutlery, and then I think like maybe a stir or something, or maybe cup. It wasn't plates. And we hopefully have some government representatives listening, but we were getting there before the pandemic. We had a steering committee and we were very hopeful, but obviously the pandemic hit and
we were actually encouraged to use plastic bags.
Yeah, and now hopefully we can get back on track to making some changes in legislation. So yeah, it's fantastic what the Bahamas have done, and they're deadly serious. If you're found, you'll get fined. So
yes.
I'm hoping that will happen here. Because I think when one country does it and sets a great example, then we can do it as well.
It's a domino effect. And Bahamas is much bigger than the Cayman Islands. So the fact that they were successful with that, it really blew me away on the plane. I just was like, I'm not really believing this, but here you are verifying that, yes, what I did here was true, and it's something that you're hoping that Cayman can reach that goal as well.
And just going back to fundraising, we actually have a fundraising event on the 14th of May at Cayman Creperie, Central Terrace, where Lucky Slice is.
Okay.
That's right by Kirk Freeport, by the Stingray Fountain. And with Ollie and I are going to be speaking there, and just come along for some pizza. There's food, and we're hoping people can donate some money then. So that's May the 14th.
So we can learn more about Ollie, about his swimming history, in that sense, because I don't know anything about your swimming history, so you could be an Olympian for all I know, sitting here in the studio with me. And I introduced you incorrectly at the very, very beginning of the show, so my apologies again on that. But I think it's a great thing that you are doing. It's very exciting. It's going to garner a lot of press for you, I would imagine. I would hope so, because it's very brave, it's different, and it's so challenging, and it's all for a really good cause and an initiative. So I'm glad you're in Cayman and you're able to do this, and I hope that the island is very welcoming to you as well. How can people support this initiative, better support it? I know you mentioned the day at Cayman Creperie. Was it Cayman Creperie?
Yeah,
yes.
Fundraiser on May the 19th. And then I know we've been talking about Earth Day, and we've got the Earth Day Clean Up, that Chamber of Commerce organised every year, which is growing and growing. It's absolutely fantastic to hear from Will how many teams they've got.
Yes.
So Ollie will be at Gun Bay this Saturday for the Plastic Free Cayman part of the cleanup.
Great.
And then we will have the fundraising day, and then also Ollie's going to be going into schools. So we've got some school visits lined up.
Oh,
so if you're
cool.
a teacher and you're listening and you don't know if Ollie's coming in yet, please check with your principal. Because we're getting bookings for that. So he's going to be speaking to the school children, and again, it's education, awareness, and just also helping people just know about it. I think unless you've been to the beaches recently.
I was speaking about Barefoot Beach. I went on March 8th, actually. Don't ask me why I remember the date, but March 8th, and it was absolutely littered. just absolutely littered. So much waste there, so much plastic there, and it was unbelievable to me because it's not a private beach, but it's a local spot, and you kind of got to be living here, or really have heard about Barefoot Beach to find it and to go and enjoy it. So to see that, okay, people are enjoying it, but people are also just leaving their garbage behind, it's heartbreaking, because we do have to take care of where we live. And apparently there are quite a lot of people that just throw garbage around in their house like it's nothing to them. But when I see waste like that on the beach, it really makes me wonder, if you're not doing that in your own home, then why would you do it outside of your home, right? It all starts with your foundation.
Absolutely.
Right? Ollie, we had mentioned some GoFundMe pages, I think, for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So if people were able to, they can search The Grand Swim on GoFundMe.com. And Claire, they can get in touch by...
We've got a link on our Instagram page, and you can just direct message Plastic Free Cayman or email plasticfreecayman@gmail.com. We're on Facebook and Instagram.
All right. And I don't think I asked you. You are, Ollie, the founder of Project Planet.
Yes.
Right.
That's it, yeah.
So can you give some background on what Project Planet is?
Yeah, so Project Planet basically started off just somewhere that I could share the pictures and images from the beach cleans that I do in the UK. So about 4 years ago, I had a bit of a reflective moment where I suddenly sort of thought, actually, I need to do something about this. And I wasn't sure really what I could do apart from pick it all up. So basically just took pictures, started sharing it on Instagram, and realised that there is a huge community out there doing the same thing, which not only helped me, but it's really great to get it out there as well so people can see how bad the problem is. I think until you've seen some of these beaches, I've not been to Barefoot Beach yet, but I've been to some other beaches here.
You'll be close to there on Saturday.
Okay. Yeah. And as soon as you see how bad it is, I think it shocked me into wanting to take action. And if it did that to me, hopefully it might do it to someone else, and maybe reflect a little bit on what the small changes, because we're not trying to ask everyone to be perfect, and we're not putting the blame anywhere. I think poverty is a huge problem as well, which is why plastic pollution is so prevalent. So it's really just about making people aware, and then hopefully they might make small changes which collectively make a massive difference.
What's the tie with poverty and plastic pollution?
I think when you've got poverty, it's also almost impossible for them to be able to recycle their plastics as well, or even have correct collection facilities. So unfortunately, a lot of countries, they don't have places they can take their rubbish, so they will literally just tip their rubbish into the rivers, which obviously end up going into the sea. So that's all where it connects.
Haiti is a big example. It's a neighbouring country. We've got Jamaica, we've got Haiti, and actually, if you look on a map, the currents, we're almost in line. The BRAC and Little Cayman are almost in line with Haiti, and so we've actually found things that are written in French, or they've got Haiti on them, and they are, the poorest country, one of the poorest countries in the world, definitely in the Caribbean. And we've seen footage. There's an organisation called For Ocean, and they're doing a lot of cleaning up there and trying to intercept the plastic from the canals before it comes into the water. But as Ollie said, we get our garbage picked up for us. We don't realise how lucky we are.
Right.
They just literally throw it in the canal. It washes away with the rains, and then it disappears magically. And obviously, that's not a priority for them when they're living on such low wages or in poverty.
There's a lot of different factors to consider there that we absolutely don't have the time or the depth right now to get into with this show. But any last words that you would like to leave with our listeners? Any last final thoughts?
We do have, if someone needs help or they don't know where to start going plastic free, if you go to plasticfreecayman.com, there's something called a 3-4-5 pledge, which allows you to look at 3 things you can do immediately, and another 4th in a month, and 5th within the year. So that gives 10 ideas. And if people just need some extra guidance and some extra help, it's all there on our website.
Excellent. Thank you, Claire. And any last words from you, Ollie?
Yeah, I think we've touched enough over about how important it is we start looking after the planet a lot better. So, just if anyone would like to get involved in what we're up to, we do need support. We need kayakers. We've come here on a shoestring budget. We've not got massive amounts of money, so it's really just trying to get people to come and help out where they can, be that walk along the beach. Perhaps they can do a beach clean at the same time. Just keep an eye on me. I've got a lot of training swims and stuff to do as well. So, and we are still looking for a main sponsor. We've had some amazing sponsors come in so far, but we are still looking for a main sponsor. So if anyone listening wants to get involved, then please reach out to Claire at Plastic Free Cayman. Absolutely.
A great opportunity for a main sponsor to be involved in this. What do the private corporations want? They want press coverage. This is huge press coverage from what I've seen in the past, based on how challenging this is, how it's pretty risky, and it's pretty exciting. So there's such a thrill element to what you're doing. Plus, it's about helping to raise awareness and protect your environment. So it's an absolute great initiative for any corporation to be a part of.
Yeah,
that's my closing thought on it. So you can find out a little bit more information if you visit projectplanet.earth/Grand Swim. And that's about it, right? And you mentioned the GoFundMe pages. And May 19th was the fundraising at Cayman Creperie. May 14th was the fundraising at Cayman Creperie. And get in touch with Plastic Free Cayman if you would like to volunteer, if you would like to donate, if you would like to be a part of this, the Grand Swim, which is taking place between the 23rd and 27th of May. Exact date is not quite picked out yet, but when we know the weather conditions, I'm sure that date will be picked. Massive luck to you, Ollie. I think this is a huge initiative. I'm like, it scares me, but I'm also very excited for the experience that you're going to have.
Thank you.
The challenge that you will overcome.
It's a massive challenge, and we will. We're going to give it 100%.
Absolutely. I know you will. And thank you, Claire, as well, for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you to all our listeners out there. And tomorrow, I believe I'm back with you on Talk Today.
Talk Today is brought to you by Subway, open 24 hours in Countryside, Anderson Square in Georgetown, and Centennial Towers in West Bay. And by the Ministry of District Administration, Tourism and Transport. Explore your history, explore your land, explore your sister islands. MedLab in Smith Road Plaza, your complete medical laboratory solution. Call 949-7331. And Savannah Pharmacy in Countryside Shopping Village, convenient opening hours including Sundays and holidays.